Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome everybody to Morris Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka Amana El Bay. And tonight, our special guest is Dr. Walter Williams. The title of this broadcast is, What is Anti-Semitic? What does that mean? Well, we're going to explain that tonight. We'll be dealing with some of the following questions and much more. Why is it such a big deal for someone to say something about a person calling themselves a Jew? I mean, what is this right here, man? I'm indigenous to this land, absolutely original to this land. What is a Jew? What is anti-Semitic? What does that mean? Who created the word Semitic in the first place? Wherever we find Semitic, we should find peace, right? Among all the real civilized people on earth, what nations enjoy peace minus war and violence? Let us look up the ancient story of the Jew. These are just a few of the questions that I'm going to be putting to my guests, and we're going to try to get this information out. Keep in mind, the chat room is now officially open. Be courteous when you get up in there. If you got some questions, go ahead and answer them. If you want to make a statement, go ahead and do so. I want to start off by saying at the outset here that later on in the broadcast, the phone lines will be open. The number to dial into the broadcast is 515-605-9757. Press 1 on the phone to give me an indication that you got something to say. Also, coming up in the very, very near future, we have a brand new spectacular business opportunity for people. Okay, we're going to be running the commercials on that. We're going to be answering questions about that. We're ready, but we're not going to put this out tonight. I just want to put it out there that we have something is nice. This is excellent for you to start doing at home and break on into 2023 owning your own company. And of course, you know you want to be in the private, and you want to be a secured party and all of that good stuff. Okay. So hold on a minute. Let's do the commercial. We'll be right back. The greatest move you can make beginning in 2022 is to move out of the public and into the private. That's how you get rid of student loans, child support, mortgages, foreclosures, and all this kind of business. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. That's TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Fill out my Contact Us form by leaving your email address, and I'll rush my free report straight to your email box. Our economy is in shambles today for people who insist on living in the public. Move into the private. Make an easy transaction. Go to www.TarhakaDebtElimination.org. That's TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Fill out the Contact Us form, and I'll rush you my free report. Hello, everybody. I want to introduce you to The Great Debate by Dr. Walter Williams.
He single-handedly laid out the facts in this powerful debate against Mr. Munir Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Chester Blair, a prominent lawyer in Chicago, Illinois, and Reverend Henry Hardy, a prominent minister in Chicago, and Prince Azio ben Israel of the Hebrew Israelites. This debate was hosted by a retired policeman named W.L. Lillard. Now, the whole thing was a setup by Lillard and his gang, but it didn't work. They brought what they believed to the table, but Dr. Walter Williams brought what he knew for a fact and what he could prove and laid it on the table. We are now in the age of knowing. The age of walking around believing in stuff is over. For your copy of the Great Debate, go to tarhakadataelimination.org. That's tarhakadataelimination.org, or contact me by phone. My number's on the website. Oh, and by the way, the lawyer got bust up too. The Great Debate. Get your copy today. Good day and peace. As a secured party and creditor, can you buy a home, a car, and other items you need and want? The answer is yes, and there are documents you use to do just that. Catch my radio podcast at Blog Talk Radio. Go to tarhakadataelimination.org. Fill out the box with your email address that say join our mailing list, and I will send you my free report. You got credit problems? Contact me at tarhakadataelimination.org. Let's stay in honor and get into the private.
Okay, everybody, we're back. Now, let me, my guest hasn't arrived yet, but let me say something about, a little bit more about this little business opportunity that we're talking about. Just imagine being able to have an in-home opportunity and to earn some money, working from home in the privacy of your home, internet-based business, and getting paid behind this thing every week. Can you imagine that? Okay, for those of you who are interested in something like that, go to tarhakadataelimination.org. My number is right there on the website. I won't rehearse that over the air, but it's right there on the website. Give me a call, and we can discuss this thing, and I can lay it out for you. We can get you hooked up. Okay? Very, very interesting. It's something that a few years ago I had found out about it, but it was in its infancy. But now, man, they are really booming with this thing here. But let's deal with some of this anti-Semitic business. And we had, what's the brother name? Kanye West. He's been in the news about the remarks he was making and all this stuff. So we're going to deal with that until my guests get here. Okay? So y'all hold on a minute. Hold your hat. Keep in mind the chat room is open. If you want to, get you some paper and pencil and write some of this stuff down. Okay? Hold on.
Kanye West sparking a lot of outrage tonight with his unhinged comments about slavery. I want to bring in now Republican strategist Sir Michael Singleton, CNN political commentator Mark Lamont Hill, and writer and journalist Kierna Mayo. Good evening.
Good evening.
To all of you.
Hey, Don.
So today Kanye West managed to shock us again while at TMZ's offices today to film TMZ Live. He made these stunning comments about slavery.
You hear about slavery for 400 years? For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? You know, like, it's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race. Blacks and whites being one race, that we're the human race.
Kierna, slavery for 400 years is a choice. What's your reaction?
It's, again, unfortunate. You know, we're all worried about Kanye, but at this point we're all also angry and offended and hurt. And he's also factually incorrect, right? So slave rebellions, armed slave rebellions have happened in every slaveholding state in this country. we have resisted slavery for as long as we've been here. His association with slavery is so just uninformed. And I think the problem with Kanye today is that he's taken for granted that his lack of information, it can pass for opinion in a public sphere. And I, particularly for his young black fans and followers, I'm worried for them because I'm not sure that they can make the distinction between where he's going and the truth.
Well, and that's why we're covering it so much, because in my estimation, this is dangerous. And again, as I've said all along, and you said Kanye can say whatever he wants. He can believe whatever he wants, but he should understand the power of his platform. He has to be responsible, as Van said today, and he has to know his facts. Before he thinks, Mark, that this is a new conversation.
Right.
That he's having, because he just discovered it.
He just discovered some information, and I want him to discover information. I also want him to discover books.
Yes.
And I want him to read those books and read that information before he offers a public opinion. But in the Kanye West universe, at least right now, whatever he thinks is the most important thing, facts be damned. And that's something that's super dangerous. In many ways, he is like Trump. I mean, I think he's wrestling with some stuff. But
I'm just going to say who
I see why he likes Donald Trump. And
he says why he likes it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a rich, successful white man who does whatever he wants under any circumstances. He doesn't need facts. He doesn't need anything else.
He doesn't read.
And he just says what he thinks, and he doesn't read. I mean, I see why he likes Donald Trump.
But the thing is that he talks about he doesn't know he doesn't even know his history of Donald Trump.
Right.
Yeah.
So he just hasn't read about Donald Trump as well, because then maybe he would not be saying these things.
But he also, let's not extract Kanye from hip-hop and like the origins around his generation in hip-hop. He was up against half of an MC nation that was naming themselves after white men, right, who were supposed to be self-made, who were supposed to be a la Trump in this very kind of flashy, screw you, I do me kind of ilk. And so there is an attraction to, I think, what he associates with braggadocio and bravery and radical free thought. However, you're wearing a MAGA hat as though that's not sheepish.
Right, we ain't do that, though. We ain't do that part. We still said F the police. We still said my president is black.
Absolutely. And so did he. And so did he.
And that's why.
And so did he.
And that's what I'm worried about.
So, Michael, Kanye tweeted just a few hours ago. He tried to clarify this, right? So I'm going to put these words up. He said, "To make myself clear, of course I know that slaves did not get shackled and put on a boat by free will. My point is for us to have stayed in that position, even though the numbers were on our side, means that we were mentally enslaved. The reason why I brought up the 400 years point is because we can't be mentally imprisoned for another 400 years. We need free thought now. Even the statement was an example of free thought. It was just an idea." So he's backtracking, but does that make sense?
No, it doesn't, Don. I mean, look, I think even a cursory understanding of slavery and the history of slave people or enslavement would have better positioned him to make a more accurate and historically factual statement. He did not. The premise of his statement, or of his tweets rather, that he is a free thinker is somewhat absurd to me. And intellectually speaking, I would advise Kanye to pick up a book written by Immanuel Kant back in the 1700s, The Critique of Pure Reason. Perhaps that would better prepare him with the necessary tools to be able to truly be a free thinker, because what he said is not a free thinker. There's nothing genius about it. It's blatant ignorance, and it's embarrassing. And for all the young people who have invested in him, who go out and buy his sneakers, who buy his albums, what do you say to those individuals? It's because of them he is where he is at currently. Yeah. He owes those folks an explanation.
Yeah. Yes. So listen, and we have you here. You're a black conservative. Again, this is not about politics, although people are trying to frame it that way.
Well, Don, it's not. It's like the difference. Yes, I am a black conservative, but I can tell you that the reason why I'm a conservative, right? I can explain the epistemological definition of conservatism versus liberalism. Right. I have spent time reading books by Edmund Burke and John Locke and Michael Oakeshott and Robert Nozick, who all have their own issues, as Mark Lamont Hill can factually state. But with that stated, my belief system is grounded upon an intellectual exploration of something. Kanye's is not. There's a distinct difference between the two.
I hope he's watching, because you just preached right there. Kanye recently spoke with radio host Charlamagne the God. That interview came out today. Here's part of what he said.
Why you got to keep reminding us about slavery? Why don't you show us, put Michael Jordan on a $20 bill?
Boy, Harriet Tubman was the slave who rebelled, though.
Like her and Nat Turner in a different frequency though. They kind of were like you when you said you didn't feel like being controlled.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny, like, my boy Tremaine tweeted, you know, a picture of me and Virgil, and he said, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. And all these people got mad. It's like, how can you compare them to that? Man, I know this is going to cause an uproar, but certain icons is just too far in the past and not relatable.
Wow. It's stunning, right? It's stunning on so many levels. First of all, again, this idea of why we're still talking about slavery is a right-wing, alt-right talking point. This idea about black-on-black crime, right-wing talking point. This idea, everything he said.
He brought that up today, and I was like, I wanted the guys in the room, and you know, Van was amazing to say, black people kill each other because of proximity. White people kill each other because of proximity.
Right.
Because they live together.
See, but there you go with that data again. You keep using these facts, which contradict Kanye's feelings. You can't keep doing that in the Kanye universe. That's the problem. And we have to keep pushing it. And that's why this conversation is necessary. It's not to persuade Kanye. Kanye probably can't be persuaded. But it's to persuade the people who watch this conversation so that they know.
Do we have time to run Van? Can we run Van's soundbite right now? Okay, so this is Van, writer Van Lathan, was clearly upset. He was passionate, and it was across the room.
Yeah.
And then he had some words of choice for Kanye. Watch this.
I actually don't think you're thinking anything. I think what you're doing right now is actually the absence of thought. And the reason why I feel like that is because Kanye, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe whatever you want. But there is fact and real world, real life consequence behind everything that you just said. The rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice. Frankly, I'm disappointed, I'm appalled, and brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real.
Clarity. Clarity. But there's an interesting piece that happens there. I don't know if you saw the tail end.
What he says, you need to be responsible. Kanye wanted to hug him.
But so Kanye's like, I'm sorry if I hurt you, brother. I'm sorry if I hurt you. And
but
so
Don,
they begin.
Hang on, let her finish.
Let me just make this point. I think it's kind of interesting the way that Kanye emotes, right? So he has these one-on-one relationships and kind of extrapolates what happens in a one-on-one and projects that onto the whole. So he loves Trump because you've met him 3 times, and so that's your boy, and so that's his reasoning for standing for him. And so I feel like similarly in this situation, you see the side of Kanye after this where there's a genuine moment where it's just dawning on him that he actually impacted someone. Right. And in that second, he's ready to move on. He wants to hug you. Yeah. He goes into this whole free love thing, which is another piece.
Good, Michael.
But this is why, I was going to say, this is why we have to be so careful about considering people geniuses, right? So many people say Kanye's a genius. Yeah, without a doubt, he's had a successful music career. He's done fairly well for himself. He's gained so much of the world, and yet, despite all of the advancements that he has made economically speaking, he's still so ignorant of all the encounters, if you will, that occur between human nature and the human experiences, and why certain people are impacted by certain things differently, and how marginalized groups of people struggle in comparison to those who are not marginalized at all. I mean, Don, the fact of the matter is this, right? If you're enlightened, if you're an independent free thinker, then you have sort of gone through the process of from benighment to being free. It reminds me of the allegory of Plato's cave, where they're the individuals who see these shadows before them, and they believe that the shadows they see in front of them is true. But it's not true. It's not true at all. And that's what's so troubling about this, that we're having this conversation about this guy with this huge platform, with so many people who follow him, who would take those words as true.
But I don't want to be a genius. And that's just it. You don't have to be a genius at everything.
No, you don't.
Neil deGrasse Tyson can't make bombs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I wouldn't call. I push back on that, Mark. I push back on that at all. He's not a genius whatsoever. and we need to stop just using that term so loosely and freely.
Here's my problem. You better let the dark twisted
Kanye.
fantasy again.
Yeah,
Because he got busy. I'm just saying.
I got to take a break. I got to take a break. But it sounds to me like he thinks it's that you can't have one with. It's a choice. That you can't have self-pride and be positive and try to improve yourself and have all those things that where you're going to better yourself, better your community, and still know. Right, and understand history.
It's a right-wing straw argument.
So it's like it's a right-wing. He doesn't understand that you can do both.
You can be critical and have responsibility.
I'm a conservative, Don, and I'm still aware of my blackness. Like, come on.
That argument has
except for that Kanye Genius argument. That was microaggression.
That was.
We got a lot to talk about.
All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. I find this quite interesting because where is all the uproar and the all across the news about somebody using the N-word? Where that at? I haven't heard that, but it seems to me that any time there's someone making what they call it, anti-Semitic remark, it seems like the entire nation gets in an uproar. Even people in other countries and all of this stuff. Got a caller with his hand raised at area code 312. I'm going to open up the line.
I'm on something.
Area code 312. Tell us who you are, where you calling from.
Yes, sir. Top of the evening to you, Brother Tarhaka. This is Brother Yoel in Chicago from the Underground Bookstore.
Welcome, my brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm still waiting on Dr. Walter Williams to call into the broadcast.
Yeah, he had a little technical difficulty that he called and he couldn't get through, and he said he's calling you back. You know,
oh, okay.
So
all right.
He should be coming in any minute now.
All right. Well, I got another caller with his hand at 314, so I'm going to open that up and see what we got here. Area code 314. You're on the air.
How you doing, son?
Bianchi.
314.
I know we're going to straighten out this anti-Semitic business tonight.
Well, absolutely. This stuff's been argued back years ago. There's no validity in what they say. And I'll tell you something else. There's no validity in what them Hebrews saying also.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me something now. Here goes my question here. Why is it such a big deal for someone to say something about a person calling themselves Jew? Well, why is that such a big deal? Why is it always just, oh, it's anti-Semitic? Oh, my God, he said anti-Semitic. Is it? Oh, what is that about? Why? What is that, man?
I get a business signal. Hello. You hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Walter.
You in here with me, Walter?
Yeah, when I call this number, I always get a business signal.
Well, you gotta listen.
You're on now.
05-9757.
I got that. I dialed all of that, but I got a business signal. But now I'm on with I'm on now. So let's,
Okay. All right.
Let the show start.
Well, what I'm gonna do right now? Now you what area code you calling in? Are you calling in on 312 area code?
Well, yeah. No, he's calling in on 773.
There is no 773 over here on the switchboard. But that's all right.
He's calling through me right now.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. He's in here. So, Dr. Williams, before we get started, I'm gonna mute this mic right here. But we're coming back to the brother Bianchi. We coming back down there. But you wanna give us a little background information on you for new people, and you can briefly tell us about the great debate and what is the anti-Semitic? Explain that stuff to us, if you would, please.
Okay, well, first I'll start off with the Great Debate. The Great Debate is a tape, a DVD tape that was made in a television studio here in Chicago where I live. And when I got to the studio, I was ambushed by W.L. Lillard. He had 5 men waiting for him, including himself. He had Prince Raphael ben Israel, who passed away this past summer, and he had who represented the Black Hebrew Israelites, and he had a minister, a Christian minister by the name of the Reverend Henry Hardy, who has a big church in Chicago here, big congregation. And then he had Munir Muhammad. He was from the Nation of Islam. He passed away maybe about a couple 2-3 years ago. And then he had on there a lawyer by the name of Chester L. Blair. Chester L. Blair was supposed to argue with me or debate me on when I'm saying that Negroes born in America are not citizens of the United States of America. And he was supposed to debate me on that according to the Constitution. And he passed away, about maybe 4 years ago also. So, and then that was W.L. Lillard himself who set this plot up. But it backfired on him, see, because I took them all on one by one when I got a chance to speak. And I thought that I came out victoriously. So the great debate is out there. You have copies of it for sale. And I believe that tape is, how much is that tape, Brother Tarhaka?
They can go over there to tarhakadeadelimination.org and do a donation of $29.95.
Okay.
And we'll send the link right straight to their email address.
Okay. Well, that's good. So anyway, that's the great debate. And I get a lot of calls from people around the country.
Sound like you're going in and out now.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. How's that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I get calls from people all over the country about that great debate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I'm very proud of, and if a person gets that tape, they can really understand about each religion or religious ideology, and also about our citizenship in this country. So I urge you to get the great debate tape. So tonight I'm going to give a narrative information on the word Semitic. Okay.
Sound like you going in and out.
Oh man. Okay. There's something going on with my phone, or somebody's doing something. Does that still sound like that?
Yeah.
Well, nothing I can do about it because I'm.
Go ahead. Just keep it. Just make sure excuse me. The volume is turned all the way up and speak straight into the phone.
That's what I'm doing. I'm speaking straight into the phone. Okay. You got. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I hear you loud and clear now.
How about you and I talk for a second and let him try hanging up and call him back direct? No, I'll just leave it like it is, because if I call back to the direct, I'm gonna it's gonna be I'm gonna get a busy signal. Okay.
Well, I hear him loud and clear now.
Okay, well let's go with it like it is now.
Okay. All right.
You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, tonight's topic that we're going to talk about, which is in the news a lot here lately, is about anti-Semitic. That term, anti-Semitic. Where did anti-Semitic come from? It came from the flood story of Noah in the Bible. It came from the flood story of Noah in the Bible, having three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Ham, Shem, and Japheth are supposed to be the ones that people of the world. In other words, they are supposed to be people. But anyway, we're going to focus in on the second son, Shem. That's where Shemitic comes from Shem, out of the Bible. Okay? And so I want you to understand that Shem, the second son of Noah, in the first story in the Bible is where you get Shemitic from. All right? Now, let's go a little further on that. Take you to another spot. Let's go to Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob. All right? Now, it's still in the Bible. So now, Abraham and Sarah are the mother and father of Isaac. The story goes that Isaac stayed in his family home, which is Abraham and Sarah's home, 78 years, until he decided to leave and go seek a wife. He got married at 78 years old, and he had a son named Jacob. Okay, let's break that down. Jacob has an alias, and that alias is Israel. And he is supposed to be the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. And one of those tribes, of the 12 tribes of Israel, is supposed to be Judah. Judah. From Judah, get Jew, J-E-W. And then from Jacob's alias, get Israel. So let's go right there. And we're going to go a little further on that. Let's break it down this way. Since he is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, and one of those tribes is Judah, we're going to look at Judah. From Jew or Judah comes Jew. So we're going to say that is factual according to the biblical story. So now if you put Jew and you realize you got the word Jew on paper. Jew is a word and a name. Jew is a word and a name, and not a people or a person. Jew, I'm going to reiterate that. Jew is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. Okay? Then we're going to put, where did Israel come from? It came from Jacob, alias. So therefore, we're going to put the word Israel down on paper. And we're going to let it be known that Israel is a word and a name. Israel is a word and a name, and not a people, a person, or a land area. Israel, repeat again, is only a word and a name, and not a people, person, or a land area. So that has to be understood. Now, without Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob, you will not have these terminologies. And without the Bible, you will not have terminology. Therefore, you have to go into the Bible study the Bible, which is historically worthless, and you find these names in the Bible in biblical form. So now we're talking about the word anti-Semitic. Again, came from the blood story of Noah and his three sons, Ham, Shemitic, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. The word Shemitic comes from the second son of Noah in the biblical flood story. Okay, so that's where I want to take you right now. Now, how did this name or name Jew and Israel come to be a people? See, it's not a people. There's no such thing as a Jewish people. Okay, and I'll break that down.
That way you breaking up real bad, man. You're going in and out. You're breaking up. I mean, this is amazing.
Okay, let me get off. This is too bad. So you and Joel, go ahead. I can't go on anymore because I'm trying to get my point off. And I'm sorry. Maybe next time.
Okay, well, Dr. William, we're gonna carry on.
But you call him back in.
Huh?
What's that?
I said you could
call him direct.
Can I do what?
No, I
was asking Tarhaka if he could call you direct.
He would have to call in on the same number, 515-605-9757.
Oh, he know the number behind. He gave it to me.
I know but I'm right here in the switchboard. He couldn't call my phone and get on. That won't be possible because I'm tied into that, and we're going through an external mic.
Well, see, here's the thing about it, Tarhaka. I use the same phone to do a lot of interviews.
Right.
I don't have any problem. Only when I come on this program.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And maybe they might be know what the subject is tonight and trying to prevent that.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. Because every time we come out with this thing about these people who call themselves Jews, I don't understand that. The alphabet J just came out yesterday, so how can we have a Jew? But anyway, I mean, it's right there for everybody to see right on the internet. So I don't understand and all the big deal about the Kanye West and he said something anti-Semitic and all this foolishness. I don't understand that.
Yeah, it is foolish.
You're right, it is foolish. That's the reason why I'm trying to explain the foolishness.
Well, you know, from a historical point, as far as the creation of the word, according to dictionaries, it would make sense. It's an 1881 word. And the definition given in dictionaries then is one who seeks by political or other means to lessen the commercial, political, or social influence of the Jews. That's much which Henry Ford's book was on when he wrote the book in 1920, International Jew. Very same thing that he said. And you have Jews the religion and Jews the club. John Henry Clark in one of his lectures, he spoke about how Fidel Castro was a Jew. He was a Christian by day and a Jew by night. So it all goes back to business, and they hide under the wing of the Holocaust, but there wasn't no Holocaust, no killing of Jews in Germany in 1881. Was it, Tarhaka?
No, certainly wasn't.
Well, absolutely. So that's what's going on. And Kanye West said nothing wrong. Kanye West was talking about the economic and the capitalistic side of those who control these industries. And really, as long as they doing it legal, there's nothing wrong with it. I often said that if you don't like something, white supremacy or whatever, from a business standpoint, compete against it. The Asians did in the garment industry in New York. They took it from Jewish merchants. So that's my stand for it. Getting into the Bible point, you know them stories is wrong. It's stuff about the black Hebrews saying that if they had this prominence in that area, well, Egypt wouldn't have had allowed that. Egypt was greatly expansionist, all the way over to Turkey. And Men-Kaparat Houthi Mays, better known as Tutmosis III, he was whooping butt on all the courts along of that area. So they wouldn't have been allowed to exist. So that's my point.
Okay, well, Brother Yoel, what you think about this thing, man?
Well, question is that the word anti-Semitic. Even their own scholars and even the dictionary also that I've read says that they end up by saying mainly pertains to a member of the Afro-Asiatic people. Well, they certainly don't wear no afros, and they ain't no Asiatics, so it doesn't pertain to them. So he can't be anti-them. They got to use another word. But these people count on us not being smart enough to look up the definition of the word or research the word in the first place. So they've been getting away with it for a long time. And then those who probably did don't want to challenge them on it because they're afraid of their money or whatever it is that their connection with them, and they just don't want to challenge them on it, and they let them get away with something that is playing out in the real world. As you could say that's a stolen birthright from the people who said it belongs to them, and not these people here. But even the Bible says that there are those that are Jews that are not. So who are they talking about there? And when you go through that Bible, so they can't even use I remember challenging a Jewish woman at a high school here in Chicago to prove to me that book belonged to them. Her husband was visiting her one day at this high school, and it was Black History Month, and they were standing in the hallway, and she walked up to me and told me she was offended by some of the titles that were on my table. And I told her, I said, you have the right to be offended by that, but let me ask you this question. I said, you said you were Jewish, right? And then I went into the word, the suffix and the prefix of the word, or the root word and the suffix. And then I said, well, I tell you what, I make you a deal. If you could take this book, the Bible I had on the table, I said, you can prove it to me by using this book that this is your book. I burn whatever book you got on it you are offended by on my table. Well, she got hot and she stormed to the principal's office, and her husband was left there standing. And I said, well, you do it. You can do it. Same applies to you. And he started out by saying, well, been people for 5,000 years. I said, I don't want to hear that. I said, prove to me by using this book that it belongs to y'all. Well, he didn't say nothing else. He said, well, no, but he said his mother. I said, no, don't even go that route. Just prove to me by using this book. And he couldn't do it. So, they just been getting away with something for all these years, making for everybody else, and those who know better than that, black, white, red, green, or otherwise people, they just don't challenge them on it, and they let them get away with it. But they have been busted out many times before by some of their own people, but you don't hear them talk about those books like that, So the books that have been written that exposes them for who they are, and they wasn't written by black people. So, it's it's just something that they've been getting away with, and they want to continue to getting away with it. But I think it's backfiring on them right now anyway, because they probably should have just left it alone and left Kyrie Irving said that post that he made, left it alone because he didn't do anything in the first place, and neither did Kanye. I agree with what Bianchi said. They didn't do anything. So what are you making them? Kyrie Irving want to pay the ADL $500,000 and all them other hoops that y'all wanted him to jump through for posting something? You know, come on. He didn't say he like it or dislike it. You know, so what's this all about? Basically, it's started a storm here of other people asking the question about, well, who are they and what does that mean? Because I've had some people come to the store and asking about our spiritual history, young brothers. And he said, well, this young brother I remember specifically, he said, well, and by the way, sir, what does anti-Semitic mean? And, you know, that was a teachable moment for me. So, you know, this is backfiring on them, like I said. It's not going the way that they thought that it was going to go. They might have tried to get a little mileage out of it, but it's more so serving other interests rather than their interests like that. So I think they want to leave it alone right now. Yeah, but it's silly, and like Bianchi said, I mean, you control it, so just accept it. You do. You got the money. You the one controlling it. You know, so why try to deny that or get mad because somebody brought it up? What are you really hiding? You know, because it's got to be that they're hiding more than that. You know, the reason why they didn't want it brought up.
You know, check this out, y'all. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to mute y'all mics. I need y'all to
hang on for a second. Let me put this out there.
Say it again.
Here, let me give this definition on. Well, go ahead. I'll dial back in.
Yeah, I'm going to mute y'all. Y'all dial back in. I'm going to run a little quick plug, and then we're going to dial back in. Y'all dial back in. So, boy, this thing is breaking up real bad over here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all hold on a minute. We will be right back.
What's up, Ye? The fallout continues for Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, whose recent anti-Semitic comments have caused public outrage. This morning, Adidas, which helped make the rapper's Yeezy shoe and clothing line a multi-billion-dollar business, severed ties with him. A major blow to his brand and bottom line, putting his career in jeopardy. The company's decision comes just a few days after Ye taunted Adidas on the Drink Champs podcast.
I could say anti-Semitic things and Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Now what?
Adidas' decision caused Ye to lose $1.5 billion in net worth in one day.
Corporations just don't want to touch and engage and be in partnership with someone who spews such anti-Semitic rhetoric and ideology that is coming forward. So as a result, I don't know where Kanye West goes into building corporate partnerships from here.
Earlier this month, Ye was suspended from Twitter, where he has millions of followers after tweeting that he was going to go, quote, DEFCON 3 on Jews.
Exactly what our culture is based on.
Around the same time, unaired clips of Ye's interview with Fox's Tucker Carlson, obtained by Vice News, made rounds on the internet. In one, he plays off a false anti-Semitic belief that Jews control the world's financial system.
I prefer my kids knew Hanukkah than Kwanzaa. At least it will come with some financial engineering.
The tricky thing about anti-Semitism for a lot of people is that it is subtle and insidious by design.
He has repeatedly invoked a series of hateful and vicious stereotypes against Jewish people, and he has engaged in the kind of rhetoric that can lead to real-world violence.
This past weekend, members of a neo-Nazi group unfurled banners about the 405 freeway in Los Angeles, one of the nation's busiest highways. Other images show the demonstrations giving the Nazi salute.
I think we are seeing a spike in anti-Semitism, or at least a rise. This often happens at times of great tension in our society. Like, blame the Jews, not whoever's in power.
According to the Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic incidents hit an all-time high in 2021, more than 2,700 cases of assault, harassment, and vandalism, up 34% from 2020.
In this moment, in this context where the Jewish community feels vulnerable, to see someone like Kanye West knowingly and intentionally increasing that vulnerability, it is inexcusable.
Adidas saying in part today it, quote, does not tolerate anti-Semitism and any other sort of hate speech. Ye's recent comments and actions have been unacceptable, hateful, and dangerous, and they violate the company's values. The World Jewish Congress applauded Adidas' action, but not its 2-week delay, saying in a statement the company's history is not disconnected from the dangers of anti-Semitism. During World War II, its factories produced supplies and weapons for the Nazi regime. Many of Ye's other business partners acted swiftly in the wake of his anti-Semitic remarks. Talent agency CAA dropped him as a client. Fashion house Balenciaga ended their partnership with him. Some celebrities like John Legend, Jamie Lee Curtis, Reese Witherspoon are also speaking out and condemning Ye's rhetoric. Ye's ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, with whom he has 4 children, also posting, hate speech is never okay or excusable. I stand together with the Jewish community and call on the terrible violence and hateful rhetoric towards them to come to an immediate end.
You know, there is a sense of sadness and tragedy when you think about individuals who have known him for so long, for somebody to evolve an ideology to a place and space where he is now.
Anti-Semitism has been increasing over the last number of years, from Jews will not replace us to gunning us down in synagogue while we are praying. Jews are really scared.
Seeing people like Kanye openly speak anti-Semitic tropes or continue to spread anti-Semitism, it makes me disappointed. Sit in the chair here, right there.
In New Jersey, 17-year-old Aaron Goodman is using new media to tell this old and terrifying story.
How does being a Holocaust survivor affect you today?
I am very upset about the anti-Semitism.
I've been running this TikTok for about a year, and over this year I've amassed 450 to 500,000 followers and over 50 million views.
Tattooing was just a way to keep track of us.
This one-on-one interaction with the survivor is hard to find.
This is my first picture when I came back.
That survivor is Aaron's 85-year-old grandmother, Tova Friedman, one of the last remaining people who's alive after living through the horrors of the Auschwitz concentration camp. A New York Times bestseller was written about the story of her life, called The Daughter of Auschwitz.
When I first came to a concentration camp, there was a smell that I couldn't understand what it was. I never smelled anything like that. And I said, Mom, what is that? And she said to me, she pointed to the crematorium, and she said to me, those are the burning bodies that have been gassed.
Tova vividly remembers being separated from her father at age 5 and accepting her new reality with her mother inside the death camp.
It was a complete and utter nightmare, and you thought you'd wake up, but you didn't wake up.
Tova remembers one horrific day where she was corralled with a group of children.
The kids were going to be to the gas chamber, and we went into the waiting room at the gas chamber, waiting room. And we waited and waited, and they yelled and screamed in German, and then they told us to go back. I never found out why, but it was just pure luck that I didn't go through the door.
Shortly after Auschwitz was liberated, Tova was reunited with her mother and father, who miraculously survived.
Here, right here.
But scores of her friends and family died in camps.
Only Auschwitz tattooed people. But those people were taken to all different camps all over Germany.
Today, as cases of anti-Semitism rise and become seemingly more accepted and normalized, Tova has a dire warning.
Hatred is hatred, and we have to be very, very careful what we're doing. It doesn't stop with words. It's going to continue with deeds. And before you know it, we have a massacre.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more...
Okay. Okay, everybody, we're back. I'm going to open up the line at area code 314 once again. And
Look, let me say
312.
this.
Go ahead, bro.
Let me say this. You cannot let them mix those two things together. What happened in Germany, don't even talk about that. That's what they try to do. Don't even talk about it. They're confusing the whole conversation, the whole point. Don't even, as I said, when the word anti-Semite came about in 1880, there was no events going on in Germany in World War II in the 1940s. And I'm just saying, Semitic language, the Semitic language of the Afro-Asiatic language group consists of the following. It consists of Hamitic, Cushitic, and not no Cush of the Bible. They mixed that up too. Cush of the Bible came about at the Council of Jamia in 70 AD in a town there along the coastline. Jewish rabbis came up with that story. At the Council of Jamia is in the Hebrew Bible. It's a fictitious story. Hell, how in the hell are you going to have all the world covered with water and Mount Everest in the mountains? Mount Everest is 35,000 feet. The temperature at 35,000 feet is about 25 or 30 degrees below zero. So you're going to say that Noah's boat was skating around on ice skates? Think. Think. That language group, hang on for a second. That language group is Hamitic, Cushitic, Cush with a K. That's what's now called Northern Kush. They're at Abu Simbel. Northern Sudan, they're at Abu Simbel. It used to be the Abyssinians, used to be the Ethiopians. That's the Kush they was talking about. They had their own god. The god was called Amun. Guess what? Amun was against mixed marriages, and he wasn't talking about no Europeans because there was no Europe at that time. He was talking about mixing with other Asians. Ramesses was mixed. And the other language is Arab and Berber, and Arab being the only language that was not on the African continent. But when you let them mix that up like that, I keep telling you, these business people, which Kanye West is talking about, that control Hollywood, control entertainment, they use that Holocaust story, what the Germans done, and you also got to ask, why in the world did the Germans hate these people so much? People don't usually wake up one morning and all of a sudden go hating folks. Apparently something went down. But disregarding that, don't let them mix the two up. Kanye West ain't talking about no damn concentration camps. And here's another point, and I'm going to let you go back to the rest of the people. They never talk about the Black Panthers of George S. Patton's 3rd Army 761st Tank Battalion. They was the ones that went into concentration camps at Gusen and Mauthausen in Austria. Nothing is never accredited to them. Nothing. That was a black tank crew. Patton called them up, and they was practicing here in the States, in Texas, and he said, we need you. George S. Patton is one of my favorite heroes. But you don't hear anything about the 761st. Nothing whatsoever. You don't hear anything about the 758, the 784, the 92nd and 93rd in World War I. You don't hear anything about them. And they were the first ones to go into that concentration camp and liberate those prisoners. Prisoners ain't never seen nobody black at that time. That's all I got to say.
Okay, well, hold on, don't go nowhere. Let me break open our Brother Yoel's mic. 312, Brother Yoel, you with us right on, man?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Did we get Professor William back in?
No, I haven't gotten him back in, but I dialed out and dialed back in. It seems like we got some smooth sailing now. I'm finally able to hear Brother Pianki, and I'm hearing you nice and clear. So if he does come on back in, now we should be able to hear him clear, because we all dial out and dial back in. So hopefully we can get some smooth sailing going here. Would you want to chime in on this here, man?
Well, you know, it really goes back to what we've said already. The man that has not did anything wrong, but if he mentions that, like for instance, it's as simple as this. If I say Tarhaka owns a blue Chevy over there, where's my anti-Tarhaka at? Just because I said that you own a blue Chevy. I mean, is that a truth? Is that the truth or not?
Well, that's because this is exactly what I'm looking at, because I mean I have been in a courtroom and watched Europeans get up and holler all across the courtroom the N-word involving a brother, and the judge just sit there and he said order in the court, but then call the next person to say something else. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What about these people in here? They shouting all these obscenities and all this right here stuff, and it's rolling off your back is like water off the back of a duck. And but then as soon as somebody say anti-Semitic, oh man, this is international. This man, he need to be banned because he says, man, this thing is incredible. But go ahead.
Well, again, it's amazing. It's called this is Edward Bernays, supposedly the father of propaganda. It's propaganda. And the media plays along with it, because all they have to do is they're educated people to look up the word anti-Semitic and see what it means, and they can come up with the same definition. Bianchi came up with the same definition I found, and the same definition anybody else will find if they look up the word. But yet they go along with it because they don't want to challenge the people, because more than likely they work for the people directly or indirectly. So that's what it's all about, and they stop any attempts to come at anything that they do or have something to do with. That's all it is. But it's time for that to be over with right now, because there's an old African proverb that goes, truth crushed to the ground will rise again. And that truth that they done crushed, that lie ain't gonna live forever. It's dying right now. It's on life support, and it's not gonna survive. I'm sorry, it's gonna die on the table, the operating table. They trying to save it and keep it out there, but it's not gonna last. It's up. That time is up. Simple as that. I just heard today that Putin has opened up either his private library or some museum or something over in Russia, and we all over the pictures and stuff that he has inside this museum, and it also. So why are we all over his pictures? And he even got pictures of the Pope kissing black folks or Africans or whatever feet and all that kind of stuff in there as well. He got all these black pictures supposedly in his museum that he just opened up, and he's showing these pictures of, what is really going on out here? That's all a signal that this thing is up. Even the Pope is supposedly just went over to Israel and calling for the rebuilding of the temple and all of that symbolic stuff. They're trying to play out what's supposedly written in the Bible. But it's being propaganda. That's what it comes down to, propaganda, and they're trying to keep the story alive as long as they can and whatnot. But it's not going to work. This is the information age we're going into, and the information age is bringing out this information to enlighten people as to what the world is and who they are and what's going on. So it's over.
Adriel, see, here's the thing: Jews, the business people, Jews, the club, not the religion, because Sammy Davis Jr. was a Jew. Anybody can be a Jew. They want to control monetarily and economically as much as they possibly can. They've been controlling many different aspects of the economic prowess of black America. And we know they have. And we can name them. For them people to say that they are not in control of media is just a damn lie. I tell you, in the banking, the Rothschild, Amsel Rothschild, was a Jew. And he sent 5 sons to 5 different countries, including Portugal and Spain, to start central banks. And when you look today at the debt, the interest of the United States debt, the interest is about $400 billion, scheduled to damn near compete against the military budget of close to $800 billion in 2026. Who owns that debt? The banks own the debt. Who owns the banks? The Rothschilds are still involved in the banks. It's not no damn secret. Yeah, people talk about it all the time. So you got to stop get away from that Holocaust story and stick to what the definition really means. It's when people start trying to shake off the influence of businesses that was owned by Jews. Then they came up with this corny word called you acting anti-Semite. They try to hide today under the currencies of the Germans in World War II when they tried to get rid of them. And once again, I have to ask you, what was it so that made the Germans so pissed off at these people? Investigate that.
You know, I often thought about that, and but I never ever got a clear-cut answer on that. You just up and hated these people for no reason at all. What? I could never understand that. Now I knew that when it comes to us, you black, so you
Let me ask you a question. What do blacks complain about with the banks? Don't they say, hell, we can't even go in the bank and get a loan to start a business along with the money that we got in the banks?
That's right.
Is that not what they say? I want y'all, both of y'all, to correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not what they say? Well, damn, what you think the Germans were saying back in them days? You ever heard of gold certificates? Yes, you ever heard of gold certificates? It was a time when gold was a medium for business transactions. But damn, you can't carry no damn gold around in your pocket. Gold weighed 2.2 pounds a kilo. So what happened, this Jewish banker said, well, bring your gold and store it here, and I'll give you a certificate for it. All right? People were doing that. But then he got to thinking, why come I can't give certificates for gold I don't have? And that's what he done. He was giving out certificates for gold that did not exist. So when there's a run on the bank and everybody bring their certificates and collect, somebody ain't going to get some because it never existed in the first place. That's kind of some of those practices.
So now these are the Khazarians that's doing that. It's masquerading as so-called Jews.
Well, you know the funny thing about the Khazarians, Helen Thomas was a long-time correspondent for the White House, a news correspondent.
Okay.
She was quoted to saying, and you can hear her on YouTube today, she tells Israel occupiers to go back to Europe. That's what she said. It says Helen Thomas tells Jews to go back to Germany. And she just recently died here, probably just before Donald Trump took office or shortly after. That's what she said. Anwar Sadat told Benatan that you may make bagels, but you didn't build the pyramids. And supposedly Gamal Nasser, the president of Egypt during that war, you know, he died of a heart attack. He told, and supposedly, and I ain't never been able to find the source of this, said that you left here black and came back white. So, you know, I don't argue about that. I can argue the history. And I can show in the Bible where that stuff ain't. Bible is not no history book. And it surely ain't no science book. But people are perfectly okay to have that if that's what they want. But you can't deny the historical content of it. Why in the hell would the people that wrote the quote-unquote 5 books of Moses, why would they call that old when it wasn't nothing else to compare it with? Think.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we're going to be right back in a minute. Y'all hold on, don't go nowhere, because I want to introduce another young man here. Y'all may have heard him before, but he's pretty good, and I want to see if I can bring him in. So y'all hold on just a moment, and we'll be right back. I'm gonna take a little quick break, and then we'll be right back. Y'all hold on a minute.
So what do you say to the theory that you kind of got to swim with the sharks to make change? You can't stand on a boat and yell at the sharks. You got to dive in and swim with the sharks to really make change from within.
I say it in a few ways, because that's, some people say that same thing, like, you know, we have to infiltrate the system, you know, to overcome the system. Okay, I've heard that. There are people for different plays, people in different positions on the playing field. I get that. It does exist. It is true. Here's the reality, however. You will never change the system of white supremacy. Let's make that clear. It is itself, in itself, its purpose, its goal. Now, if you want to go inside of it to get certain things to help your people, is it possible? Sure. But if your intent is to go inside of it to try to change it,
can't change
that will not work. And that's a problem we have. Too many of our people are trying to go in it, and rather than getting the knowledge, information that you can learn from the successful moves, what you should do, rather than getting that, bringing it back to your people, multiplying it, and building us up, that's good. But if you try to go in there and change it, and, well, no, we can, you know, give them a moral appeal. Let's do some race education. They taught you how much they hate you. And when I say they, I'm saying the group at the top, which includes some black folks who hate themselves and their own people. It ain't just white devils anymore. It's black devils, brown devils, yellow devils. It's people in all these different cultures doing things that devalue and destroy their own people. So we can't just point over there, because we're killing ourselves too now. So what's up with that? I can't just point over here. It's like, no. Take some accountability. Yes, we know what you do. You're the classic one. You're the classic devil. We know. You're the chief of that. But we also are doing it too. So now we got to take responsibility and handle our own business as well. This is family business. And we have to take care of ourselves. We have to build up our own people, take accountability, and that way other people will respect us more, because they see, okay, you know what? We can't mess with them because they're now taking care of themselves. So they shouldn't do it to us in the first place, but we also shouldn't do it to ourselves in the first place.
And not just that, if we got to a place where they couldn't do it to us because we were a solid unit,
absolutely,
it would change everything.
Absolutely. No other culture, you know, you were talking about this when it comes to rap. You say y'all talk tough in rap. That's rap talk.
Mm-hmm.
Very bold point you made because it's a very factual point. All that tough talk is one thing. Until you get in the grit, you get around the bricks and the hood and the boroughs, and then you start seeing how this is real. There are people out here watching this show in real life who really deal with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a game. It's not a joke. It's not something they heard in rap. It's they grew up in it. I was raised with Crips and Bloods in my family. That's what I was born and raised in Compton, California, Richland Farms. That's Farm Dog, Compton, Crip. Right next door to that is Nutty Block. Next door to that is Spooktown. This is where I grew up at. This is where I was raised in. So it's like I know it from the experience of being in it with my family. I know it, not from what I saw. Right. So when you deal with people like that who really come from it, you can't play with them. And they also know who is legit and who's fake because of how you talk, how you move. On the internet, a whole bunch of chains. Oh yeah, you clearly ain't from the hood. You know, some people just, never had nothing. So I like to floss what I got because I never had nothing. I get that. But then some people talk a little too much, and it's like, you don't have too much experience. Not really, because you would move a little more wide. You didn't have a big homie that was educating you too well. What year did you get put on or put off? Whatever. It's like a lot of different street political, jargons and terminologies. But the reality is we have to be very careful about what we do, what we portray, what we put out, especially when you say swim with the sharks and blah, blah, blah. I'm not one of those.
Yes,
I'm not.
Kind of.
No.
Let me explain. Maybe indirectly. You just said, I've been in CDC.
Oh, yeah,
Look,
yeah. I get what you mean on that.
They ain't know I was there, but I was in there. I'm polying with the knowers.
Got you.
You get what I'm saying? I'm sitting in there. My colleagues, I saw you on the panel up there talking with the people that knew what the fuck they was talking about. I saw it. So you are, whether directly or indirectly, swimming with the sharks to get the information to come back and bring it home.
Absolutely. I get you on that point. And here's the difference. I don't swim with the sharks trying to be equal with the sharks.
Trying not to, yeah.
And I also let the sharks know, and they see me, I'm bigger than the shark. And they see he's not trying to be like me. He's letting me know up front.
I'm going to respect you. I'm gonna respect,
We both swimming, all right? We know who the real enemy is. We both have a goal here. We all trying to eat. But listen, I'm getting my food to bring it back. You're getting it to eat for yourself. I just want to make this clear. And so I don't hide it. I let it be known up front. And they respect that. No. A lot of white folks who roll, they respect it because I speak the same way in front of them. No, I don't trust white people as a group. I never will. But I appreciate the information that you give. There's some good. No, but you see, I mean, but I got to be real. There's good white individuals do good for our people. Hell, the people who gave me the data in 2015 about the MMR shot were white folks. 2 white women.
MMR.
You see what I'm saying? I have to give it up to them. Like, wait a minute. Brother, without that information being brought to your brother, and then I brought it to Minister Abdul Malik Saeed Muhammad, also known as Minister Tony Muhammad, Western Regional Minister of the Nation of Islam, and then we brought it to Minister Farrakhan.
Light-skinned dude?
No. Oh. No, I don't know what there's a couple of them. But brought that information to Minister Tony, and then we brought it to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Then he brought it to the world at the 20th year anniversary of the Million March that was broadcasted to literally over 4 billion people in over 42 countries via C-SPAN, to where people became aware that the Tuskegee experiment was nothing compared to what's really going on with the MMR shot long before COVID. It was 2 white women that did that. See, so I can't lie. It's like, no. I got to give them their credit. So there are some white people doing some good things because they really hate what their ancestors did. They're trying to escape damnation. Got to be honest with you. What goes around comes around. A lot of people like, I ain't trying to get that. Yeah. Okay. Just facts. All right. All right. So that's the point, right? So the reality is, again, we just have to make it very honest and very clear. Let people know what we're in here for. That's all. And we're really about it. I don't go into any area without letting them know this is what I'm here for.
This is my objective.
I'm not here to disrespect you. I'm not here to take anything away from you in a negative way, but I have to help my people. I have to.
No, Joe Biden.
Okay, everybody, we're back. Brother, y'all, are y'all familiar with Brother Rizza from the Nation of Islam?
Yes, sir.
I am. No.
I'm not. Never heard of him.
Well, I just run across him the other day on the on YouTube, And I took my time to listen to it. Talking pretty fast, but he was saying a lot of good stuff.
You
dead
know,
on point.
let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
When people be saying my people,
Mm-hmm.
that's your group. That ain't all blacks in America. If blacks numbered 40 million, well, half of them is less than 18. So you got 20 million. Then out of the 24 million that was able to vote for Barack Obama, only 11 million did. The others didn't want to vote. So in other words, what I'm telling you, if you got 40, you're going to really look at 20. If you got 20, you're probably looking at 10. The Church of God in Christ and Southern Baptists have about 11 million. So what people be talking about, my people, that's your group, your family, sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews. My people. If 3 of you got an idea, you sit down around a table and you conspire on how to make that idea become a fruition. That's your people. I'm not involved in that. Tarhaka, you ain't involved in that. So how you cannot be what everybody want to say? That's trying to make you look larger than what you really are. And then when you see that you're not as large as you really thought you are, then the reality starts sinking in. If Jews or anybody else, Arabs, if East Africans, if they got control over something that you depend on, then you should put together a plan to take it away from them. That's how that works. That's what they do. You have to take it away from the influence, like the Asians did. Whites don't control the ship manufacturing in the world no more. It's Asians. Whites don't control the manufacturing of fertilizer in the world no more. It's Asians. If you don't believe me, call Koch brothers up, or call Donovan up down here in Louisiana, which is the largest fertilizer manufacturers in the country, and ask them to give you a price to ship, say, 3,000 metric tons of fertilizer, nitrogen, to Nigeria. You know what they're going to tell you? We can't do it.
What's that?
They're going to say, we can't do it. You know why? Because they can't compete with the Asians. So if you don't like the grip that somebody has on your economic stability, that's what it's all about, really, in the United States and actually in most of the world. Then you got to work to take it from them. You may not take the whole piece of pie, but you take enough of it in order for you can control that part of it that you need to sustain yourself. That's what it's about. All that other stuff is a bunch of rhetoric. It's a bunch of take your eyes off the prize, or whatever you want to call it. And you get trapped into them damn discussions. Some of these discussions were settled back in 1970 at the UNESCO symposium on the subject matter of the peopling of ancient Egypt, when Theophile Obenga and Cheikh Diop went up against 22 scholars of the European world and beat their butts because they were better prepared. That was settled back in the 1970s, and I'll be damned. I pick up the paper, and they talking about this stuff today. When is it ever going to end?
Well, we was discussing that, me and some brothers the other day. This generation that we have here today, this thing is so fantastic. I mean, we in the greatest information age in recorded history. There's never been a people like these that ever existed before.
You know what's wrong with this generation?
But yet, to be the most uninformed people.
You're absolutely right. They don't ask questions. They don't ask questions of their elders, and many of their elders don't know the answer to give them in. But there's a few left. They dying off real fast. But on this particular subject, where Irvin has gotten in trouble with, and what Kanye West is saying, I know what he's saying, but most people are persuaded to look at him based on what's being portrayed out there in media. That man is not what he's saying is true. Because if you really think about it, have not blacks been talking about that all the time? Didn't blacks question rappers and ask you, why are you guys using them type of lyrics and stuff? And then the little rappers tell you, well, if we don't use them, we don't get a contract. Mm-hmm. Well, who in the hell is the contract with? That's who you need to look at. And really, the contract is not illegal if they agree to it. I mean, think. I mean, just think. If they can get you to be deplorable and insultive to your culture, and that's what it's about. It's about culture. Skin color ain't got shit to do. It's about culture. Well, then you got to sign and agree to that. And most of these young people coming out of predicaments in life that they're going to gravitate to anything in order to make a $700,000 or $1 million. That's more than they ever had.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right about that. Brother Yoel, you want to chime in on this here, man? Okay, yeah, brother. First, let me deal with Brother Richard. I'm not sure all the jury is just in on brother right now, so I hear him talking and he talk fast, but, you know, I think fast, I think slow on him, okay? Put it like that. So I'm not sure where he's at. But I will say that what he was talking about with respect to that MMR thing that he brought somebody came to him with, and he took him to Minister Farrakhan. I was around there then at that time trying to see if the Nation of Islam was going to do something with that. And I remember them bringing them to here to Chicago. I think it was a white doctor and another guy who was producing the documentary about it. And they were supposed to take it to do a boycott down in Atlanta, Georgia at that time, at the front of the CDC. And it was supposed to be a big thing. But I'm sorry, but it was a little thing, and it didn't go as far as it could have went because they didn't publicize it like that. And so he didn't take it to the world. He took it out there. He talked about it, but it didn't go as big as the brother said. It went in by what he was suggesting in his statements that he was making there. But I will have to say that when he said my people, I say the same thing. That he says basically, and I know that when I make the statement, I don't mean just my immediate group or my family, because I can say my family, and that can mean those people who share the same last name as me, but it don't necessarily mean that everybody in my family that share the same name with me may agree with me, because I said my family. So likewise, when it comes to saying my people, you know, it's not that they try, at least not with me. I don't know what it is with him. But when I say my people, I'm not referring to not trying to make myself bigger than what I am by using that. I'm saying that because I do mean my people, those people who immediately my skin, you know, that is not necessarily my kin sometimes. But because when I look back at what's the name Martin Luther King, you know, he would probably cringe at what he got accomplished when the very people that he was trying to get the right to do something probably didn't even support him, okay? And they probably still don't support his holiday, the holiday that was given to in his honor since his death and whatnot, you know. So it's kind of sad when you go out and fight like that, and you get those people who feel that way, that they want to go sit at the lunch counter with those Caucasian people, that they want to go sit with those people, and they don't necessarily, they want to, in other words, they're trying to get away from their own. But he helped them to do that, and they got their privilege, but they don't support nothing that we do, basically, because they're not really not my people like that, like Bianchi said. In that instance, they're not really your people like that because they ain't on the page with you like that, you know. But, and I think that's a travesty because those people had caused the man to do all that he did and get people killed and all kinds of things that happen to us, horrific things that happen to black people fighting for that right to do that. And then the losses we suffer with that, you know. So I'm pretty sure that King being as intelligent as he is today, he probably would give us a second thought and maybe do that that whole scenario, and probably maybe wouldn't even go through what he went through to make that happen for people and whatnot. But point being that my people may not be necessarily all of my people like that, and I know that because and I think that's what the brother was saying when he said my people. You know, not that he was trying to make himself bigger, but again, the jury is still out on him like that, because I've heard about him and I've been listening to some of the things he says, and I got his book that he wrote as well, and I think he kind of pricey, and I think he got a big head about him really right now, just based on what I said right now. I think he's just trying to make a name for himself, and because the book he got is not worth the kind of money he's talking about charging for it. I think it was $30 or $35 for the doggone book, and I think it was less than 200 pages or some stuff like that. So I think he needs a checkup from the neck up, really, you know. So, you know, that's what I think about him. But anyway, again, on our subject tonight, though, I think it's pretty much just propaganda, and these people don't want to challenge these people to the truth of the matter, and that's all it is. And because they work for them. They done successfully corral not just the entertainment industry, but media. That's the main thing that they know this strategy. They playing in the championship game of life, or when I call the chess game of life, and they playing to win, and they done captured all of the necessarily large elements that needs to be captured in order to win in this game. Even when you go back to Hitler, and you're talking about what happened in Hitler in Germany, they backed Hitler. There's a book called Hitler's Secret Backers. Okay, they were Jews. These people have backed every war since wherever. You know, whatever war takes place, they gave money to both sides. Because when the war was over with, they won no matter what happened. Okay, so they backed Hitler in that war, and the other side as well. So you know, they like I say, they play a shrewd game. So, and then they don't want us to pull the cover off them, but I'm sorry, but their ancestors and the Creator is pulling the wool off of them right now. And I also say that this is not just a war about economics. This is spiritual war here. This is bigger than some economics. Economics is basically a tool, one of the tools that they use to maintain their control to get what they want and stuff like that. But you know. But it's just a tool. This ain't about money, because who in their right mind, what owner in his right mind would segregate or separate or disenfranchise their best customer, which is really, in this case, if it's about economics, they should be giving black folks all kind of checks, you know, and they're going to give it right back to you. But they ain't doing that.
They're not
doing that.
Your leaders getting paid.
Yeah, they getting paid.
See, they gotta have
us in control. You know.
Yeah. See, they gotta have somebody to take them by the hand to lead them to you. And you got people like your Clyburn. Now your damn Al Sharpton. Your leaders lead the Congressional Black Caucus. They are the gatekeepers of black society. Blacks just vote for them.
Hold on, let me say something about what you just said. Now, see, I was in Mississippi, a little old small town in Mississippi recently, and a friend of the family said her daughter worked in. She's a lobbyist in Washington, right? Now, funny, she brought this up, and she said, well, see, my daughter, she controls the money that goes out and pays these people that like Al Sharpton and all these other people, but she say she's finna stop paying Al Sharpton this money, you know, that he getting paid and he ain't even doing nothing for it. I told her, I said, first of all, she's not going to stop that because he owns a retainer. Okay, they give him that money, so when they need him, they call that Negro to come out and do what they need him to do, and he dance when they say dance. So she's not going to stop that. Okay, and because she feels like he don't do nothing for the money.
Al Sharpton is a gatekeeper.
Go ahead.
He is one of many gatekeepers. That's what they are. I mean, blacks vote for these fools. Blacks vote for this damn Democratic Hell, and what do you have to show for it? And you know the reason you don't have nothing to show for it? Because you never demanded before you cast the vote. You don't gave it up. Woman, you gave it up. He got what he wants. You laid down and opened your legs up. You gave it up for nothing. You think he gonna give you $50 after he's done and got his pleasure? Hell no. He's getting his hat and leave.
All right, I got another caller with his hand raised. Y'all hold up. Area code 504. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, what's your question or comment. 504, come on in.
Greetings. This is New Orleans, calling from New Orleans, just listening to the conversation. And saw the title of the program, and I just want to contribute that one of the things I believe is that celebrities, black celebrities, or any black person in a high-profile position, unless they're highly informed on the discussion about Jews and anti-Semitism, they should just kind of be quiet because they'll just get themselves verbally into a word trap and then be condemned. Now, let me give an example. Now, when Whoopi Goldberg was on The View, and all she said was basically, and I'm paraphrasing pretty much what she was trying to explain, was that there's a difference between when somebody say they're Jewish and somebody say they're black. So if a white racist is looking to hurt a black person, okay, a Jewish person in America look no different than another white person. That's basically what she was saying. Now, they got all upset and aroused and got us suspended. Kyrie Irving, as I understand it, just had a little link to the movie on Amazon Prime, recommended it, and then I don't know what's going on with Kanye West. He all over the place. But here go the point. If African Americans were tuned to geopolitics, which we're not because basically we're victims of the mainstream media and what they feed us, all black people have to ask Jewish people is, what about the Azov battalion in Ukraine that the U.S. is supporting? And the Azov battalion is a Nazi organization where they're still bearing a swastika and having a salute. Now, that would shut them up. I know that would shut them up because I've done that, and they shut down because they don't have the codified script to respond to that. Now, the ADL, last week, the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, has issued a statement, and this is the statement. They no longer consider Azov Battalion a right-wing extremist group. So that's the big elephant in the room. You have this war with Russia and Ukraine. The United States supports Ukraine. The most forceful element in the Ukraine armed forces are the Nazi elements. And that's an embarrassment, or that's something that's kind of the Jews are concerned about, because even in the state of Israel, they're having debates about that. For example, Ukraine's national hero is Stefan Bandera. Stefan Bandera was a Nazi who killed Jews. And you're having debates on Israeli TV about whether Israel should be supporting Ukraine. And some of the rabbis who are saying we should not because Stefan Bandera killed Jews, they're trying to shut them up. Now, if we were attuned to all of that, that's all we have to say. That'll make them squash this kind of debate. But, you know, we sometimes people get us off into arguments that become diversions by design, so we don't see the big elephant in the room. And this war in Ukraine and the U.S. supporting Nazis is the big elephant in the room. So you're going to make Farrakhan, Whoopi Goldberg, Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, you're going to make them out like anti-Semites equal to Hitler, but people who actually admire Hitler and who actually work with Hitler, the U.S. is supporting them financially today. and so you don't see them, you don't see that issue because we're being shown that Farrakhan and all them are the big anti-Semites. That's what we got to understand, the kind of diversion game going on.
Okay, well, y'all hold on a minute. We're going to take a little quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to open up another box. So I'm going to mute your mics. Y'all hold on a minute. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, the number to dial into the broadcast is 515-605-9757. Press 1 on the phone. That'll give me an indication that you got something to say. Open up the phone line so you can get in. We're going to take a little quick break. Y'all hold on. Be right back.
Do you talk to Obama still? I was Obama's favorite artist. He actually met with me. Obama met with me and my mama to say that he was running for office back in 2008. And that he wanted the support. And everybody was so into this idea of the black president. And you were always cool. And it's also like, you know, how many of us are there? You know, Obama level, Ye level, you know, Virgil level, just black, you know, so brilliant that we cut through all of the lines of racism. Like you just can't get rid of us. Nat King Cole level, Dave Chappelle level. So in some place we'd have to be friends and get along because it's like, yo, you're at that level. You're like a, you know, Formula One Lewis Hamilton race car driver. We're still driving a white car, but we're the best race car drivers that ever existed. And that was me and Obama's connection. But soon as I wasn't saying the things that I was supposed to say as a rapper, our connection faded.
So you don't talk to him anymore?
I'll talk to him if I see him.
Yep.
But I guarantee you he see me. I don't even know the man. I just thought that sounded cool. One idea that was in my head about 3 minutes ago that I really want to say is that's really interesting about the when companies get the BLM managers.
What's a BLM manager?
Black Lives Matter office manager. It's basically you get a semi-influential black person to become the face of a white company.
Yeah.
Right. So that means like in the design world, in the art world, they actually would pick artists that were less talented than other artists based on their influence, not based on their actual work, because everyone is vying for influence and an opinion. Everyone is afraid of losing their opinion. So with Nike, right? Nike is as famous as, you say Nike's more famous than PayPal, right?
Yeah.
Right. What number company do you think PayPal is?
I don't know.
Number 4.
Overall?
Overall. You got, well, you know the number 1 is, right? It's Apple.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting number 2, but number 3 is McDonald's. Then SpaceX is maybe 6 or 7. It's really interesting that as lit as Elon is, his previous company is actually still worth more than SpaceX. So what number company do you think Nike is, the Nike? Number 321. It's not there to be
as big a financial company as it can be. It's there as an influencer because black people love Nike. So Nike is like a company that is redlining and gerrymandering black people. So the reason why Gap wanted me to go to Gap, it wasn't based on, oh, we need to get our stocks up. You know, it's like these companies, when they've been around for a long time, Gap's not like, they're like, we're in the rag trade, we're never gonna be Apple. And everyone, all of these American companies somehow took this deal where they start putting in these really awkward, weird number kind of CEOs. Like Nike's got one, the Gap had one, it didn't work out. And there's all of these weird operators inside of companies, even in Balenciaga, you know. They're just there for control. Steve Jobs talked about it. It's the most important thing you can have is control. Look at me, all the money, all the influence, and I have to act a complete ass to have any say-so of anything that my children are doing because that group of people have control and say-so over all the children inside of the clan. So that's what these companies are set up for. That's the type of CEOs they're hiring, especially when the founders are out of there. They kind of just give the companies up to a bunch of people, and they're all in cahoots. Like anyone that ever worked with me, they just look at, oh, who's Ye farming for talent that we can hire to be our new BLM office manager. Like, kind of like Obama.
What do you think of Obama as a BLM office manager?
Best one ever. Yeah. Best one ever. And you know, I think Obama, just like Virgil, these people were truly black to their core and truly brilliant to their core. But they went into situations thinking that they could do it the white way as a black man. And we saw what color Obama's hair was when he went in, and we saw what color it was when he went out. You know, Virgil lost all his hair, you know, and eventually passed away. So when I have techniques that are revolutionary, if I raise my voice, if I express myself on Instagram, it's a colonic. And people can say, oh, this what you're doing is toxic. If what I'm saying is toxic, I got to do everything to get it out of my body. And there'll be times where I see a level of like oppression, Parisian proper, like next level, you know, France owns 80% of African banks level colonization, oppression. And I'll be like, I'm not going to let you guys kill me. But one thing that has to really happen, say if Trump ran, right? We're not just going to be black influence. We're going to be vision and creativity. We've got to rethink who we are as a species. Right now, we practice killing ourselves every day. Like murder is legal in America, you know.
In abortion.
Yes. So whoever gets the position needs to listen to the vision. I didn't know it was going to rhyme when I first started. They need to have Elon. They need to have me. You should start with those two, and then we'll get to the rest of them. We could pull in a Johnny Ives, we'll pull in all of our living, super brilliant people. And we need to analyze and not just sell out for the cash. Like these Fortune 500 companies, they're just selling out for the cash. And put God first
And the best representation of God is the children is the extension of his family, put the families first. There's so many things, suburbs, the train tracks being ripped up by GM just for capitalism, all these ideas that we have. We're now living in a place where we're the orphans of capitalism, and we just have to take a pause and rethink how we can have the most beautiful existence possible for our children, for the kids, and we're all kids. Yeah. We're all God's kids. We're all sons of Abraham.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens.
Okay, that was Kanye. Kanye said we all God's children. We all are Abraham's children. I'm going to open back up the phone lines now. And I got a question before we get started, gentlemen. Okay, hold on a minute. Brother Pianki, I got a question. What is an anagram? So we got a brother in the chat room over there. He's talking about anagrams. You bring me up to speed
I don't
on
know.
that.
Ask him to ask whoever's putting that in
Yeah,
to
well,
define
I was
it.
telling him to call in and press 1 on the phone and all that.
Well,
and
he can put it in the chat room and tell him what's an anagram.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a compound word for sure.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
listening to Kanye, he's kind of confused. And, you know, when they made reference of him losing 1.5, he said net 1.5. Well, net 1.5 means that you already got it in the bank.
Right.
It's a derivative of your liabilities you paid towards your growth. And net's what's left over. So that there is confusing, intentionally, I guess, or ignorantly. And people have to listen closely what these folks are saying. But the money on paper, and see, when you talk about net worth change every minute because your electric bill, your telephone bill, your gas bill, that increases toward the point to where they send you out a monthly bill. So in 15th of the month is half as much as it would be at the end of the month, and half is more than what it was at the beginning of the month. All that's net goes against what they call net worth, and it constantly changes. So listen to him talk, he's just confused because he didn't seek out what he should have sought out to address the problem that he's trying to describe. And what he's saying is just further confusing those that's listening. Look, I'm going to have to get out of here. I was hoping to be able to, listen to Walter. He's been knowing him for a long time like you have.
Walter would call back in and see how we're doing. I would like for him to call back in. So
well, Walter,
actually, I talked to him. He said every time he's out, he gets a busy signal. And believe you me, he knows this number by heart. And I have to call him to get the number, so it ain't like he's dialing the wrong number. But some kind of way, something is calling him to get a busy signal when he dials their number they called in.
Mm-hmm.
That is strange, man. I don't understand that. Brother New Orleans, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Tell us about all this magnificence on Kanye West. It just got to talking about, man.
Well, like I said, I kind of tune out celebrities. Listen to him is like listening to some random person in the ballroom to me. Because to me, all of this stuff is a diversion from what I feel we really need to be concerned about or asking questions about. Celebrities, man, imagine the type of people that are around them, the variety of people that they're exposed to and are influenced by. And then when they say something in front of the camera, we all react to it. But, like I said, I don't pay much to what these guys say. I don't see Kanye as no great thinker or anything like that at all.
Well, I'm not gonna give my personal opinion on it, brother. I watch things, and I look at things, and I see things, and you know, I'm still trying to. Cause see, first of all, I never was a big proponent of rap. When rap came out, that was the end for me. You know, if you want Temptations, Four Tops, and all that, I'm done. When you rapping about nothing, then when you start talking about disrespecting yourself, disrespecting your woman, you know, killing and doping and all that right there, I really lost. But then all of a sudden, we got all these people coming out. Well, you know, this guy here, man, he's at the top, and you know, he's number one. We got and I've never listened to none of their music. Never. I don't know not one single song that Biggest did. I don't know. I have never heard nothing about Jay-Z and nothing about Kanye West. Nothing. Never. Ever. To this day, I never did. I was just lost on that kind of thing. But anyway, Brother Yoel, you got anything before I go to the next little break?
Well, not really, but the objective here is basically, well, first of all, if people want to contact Professor Williams, they can do so by calling him at his number is 773-768-88. I'm sorry, that's my number. 773-947-8662. If they got any questions about his books, The Historical Origin of Christianity and The Historical Origin of Islam, both of those books, and the third one that he's working on, if you want to ask him about that and when that's going to come out, they can do so by calling him at that number, like I said, at 773-947-8662. He'll take your call. So, and other than that, on the subject of Kanye West, you know, he is confusing. Sometimes he say something that makes sense out of his mouth, and then sometimes he turn you upside down with what he just said. What's wrong with him? So it's clear that the elevator kind of somewhat don't go all the way to the top with the brother sometimes, you know. But you know, that's just the way it is. You got to accept him for who he is, I guess. And I don't know what they did to make him that way, if he's always been that way or something like that. But if he got to taking that medicine back here some time ago, that probably keeps him that way, you know. And but he still people sometimes like him have a little genius in them, though, because that medicine don't work the way they think it works sometimes. Because all of these people they got out here they call autistic, that they got these injections. They gave their mamas, daddies, these injections to, the mamas doing their prenatal care, and they came out autistic and stuff like that. Some of those people didn't necessarily, they opened up something else in those children, and those children aren't all that they thought they would destroy in them. So I don't know, maybe he's one of them or something, you know, but I do see this miserable illness all over the place these days. So I don't know how it happens or why it happens, but you know, like I say, we can take him for what he says sometimes to make sense, and there are other times we might want to throw him over there back on the other side, you know. So that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on. We're going with the commercial now.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you something, man. Since this thing come out by the Anti-Semitic and what Kanye West said, or whatever it was, I still don't know what he said. But this is the first time in my life that I ever stopped from doing what I was doing to actually look at him and see what it was that he was saying. Never. The only thing they ever seen when it was Kanye West and the Kardashians, but I never paid any attention to anything he was saying. You know, I never, until this time when this came out, I said, well, I'm stopped listening to him. This is the first time I've ever sit and listened and actually heard his voice. This is the first time in my life. I've never heard Biggie's voice. Biggie Small. I've never heard his voice, and a whole lot of other rappers. I've never heard their voice, let alone listen to their music. I've never heard them ever say a word. Now Tupac, he made a song, and I listened to Tupac. That song. But after that, that was the end. Never nothing else. No more. Period. Never, ever. Never. But anyway, I'm gonna deal with this right.
You know what the
yeah, let's get to the list. Yeah, let's get to the list that I think is kind of cool, but you might feel differently about it since you have to live this. There's a banned list.
Yes.
Put out by the government.
Correct.
The president.
Literally.
12 names. Hey, these people are problematic.
Correct.
Do something with them. Put them in the laundry room. Right?
Absolutely.
So you're on this list along with who?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Rashid Buttar. Notice how I'm saying doctor. These are all professionals, heavy professionals, and roughly 8 others. And these are the people who they said collectively we have influence of roughly 65 to 70% of influence across the entire internet on the planet as it pertains to the virus and the injections.
Who put you on this list?
The United States government, literally.
Oh, it was like an individual.
No, they looked at the influence of each individual person, and they said they analyzed over 812,000 posts between Facebook and Instagram, and they said the top names of influence that are getting the most interaction, the most likes, etc., shares, happen to be myself and 11 others. So they said these 12 people are the most dangerous across the internet. They call us the disinformation dozen. And mind you, this came out, I believe, early last year, February, March of 2021. And so far, virtually every single thing that we have said was going to happen has happened. So that's why now they're kind of trying to figure out how to get out of this, because you removed all of our platforms. That just makes it very clear. I was reaching 15 to 18 million people a week. Makes it very clear. Over 500,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, no, I'm trusting the government's math on why y'all should be on
Absolutely. They do the math.
Yeah,
I mean, they do the math.
They know the ground y'all cover.
Absolutely.
We just briefly talked about it. I think it's the Supreme Court now. There are 3 lawsuits regarding internet creators, essentially, and that's one of them, people getting pulled down for misinformation.
Correct. Because they started to pull down people that it made no sense why they would pull this person down or this group down. It didn't make any sense because none of the signs added up. I mean, literally, none of it. And as a matter of fact, everything we said was going to happen, it came out, like I said, over 500,000 followers on Facebook, over 120,000 followers on, over 500,000 followers on Instagram. I had over 120,000 on Facebook, 149,000 subscribers on YouTube, 55.2 thousand on Twitter. Collectively, I was reaching 15 to 18 million people a week. And so they shut all of that down, which, of course, if you make money, for example, or do business online, that's devastating to your bottom line. Right? But, of course, I don't do it for that. As my primary thing, but that is a part of the source of income. So it did affect, your brother, and that's how they do it. If you talk, they want to destroy.
Turn your water off.
Turn your water off. Cut the finances. But again, we're still here. We're still doing it. I'm on page number 8 as of right now.
I was about to ask you how many. I followed about 5 of them, yo. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. When he first like introduced your platform to me, he was like, "Yo, they keep banning them."
Yeah,
here's the page right here.
I was on page like 5 or 6.
He was like, "Yo, but you got to follow because they're gonna ban it. They keep banning his pages."
So that's the government saying this is the list of people that be on bullshit.
No, that's the government saying this is the list of people that are a threat to them.
Pointing out our bullshit.
Yeah, threat to them. The people who you should be listening to, but we don't want you to listen to them because what they're saying destroys our bottom line.
Yeah.
What were you saying? You said that the vaccine was some bullshit. I know that. I know that you said that. But you wasn't the only one.
I wanted the full detail of it, not just, just blanket statement, but into the actual science, into the fact that they did not do the studies long enough, into the fact that you have something called the PrEP Act, to where you cannot sue Moderna nor Pfizer if they harm and or kill you. The fact that there's something called the NCVIA, National Child Vaccine Injury Act of 1986, to where you literally cannot sue any pharmaceutical company that harms and or kills you by way of vaccines. Went into the science of the cardiac issues, or the myocarditis, pericarditis, went into the Bell's palsy, went into the menstrual cycle issues from the early data, and now they just came out
Now they're coming out with
it. Went into the information about how it is affecting sperm production, motility, strength, etc. Now they're coming out and admitting it. I'm talking about left and right. And not only that, but less than 1% of all of the reports are sent into something called the VAERS system, or the Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, to where they literally send in the amount of deaths, the amount of heart attacks, strokes, hospital visits. The vast majority of those who took the shot are the ones involved in these cases, not the opposite way. So they said people who are in the hospital overwhelmingly did not take the shot, when that's not the truth. Overwhelmingly, the ones who are in the hospital did take it.
So you on them for lying?
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. Just calling out the truth. And mind you, not only that, but providing the solutions. Take vitamin D. Make sure you get vitamin D. Make sure you eat better. Change your diet. All these different things. And when you say exercise and natural immunity, they said you're insane, you're out of your mind. When it's like, wait a minute, the reason why we're alive to this very moment is because of our natural immunity. That's the fact. But they said that's insane. That doesn't work. Hybrid immunity, take the shot. The shot is better.
Oh, you cut. you cutting off a lot of money.
I'm just saying, which we know.
Sam, I did.
So I get it.
Yo,
I get it. It's
now.
Yeah.
Yo, dog, when it first jumped off, Moderna was at like $20-something a share.
Oh, yes.
That shit went up to $480-something a share, dog.
They made billions.
You know how much money that is?
Billions in the last 2 years.
See, you could have took your little podcast, Frankie. we would have been on a yacht right now, you know what I mean?
It's interesting.
A little Ibiza flow.
It's interesting at the expense of the people.
It sounds like you trying to hold the people them accountable for not knowing.
That's not true.
For who?
They might have knew.
Oh, no.
You gotta prove that.
I said might.
Wait, are you saying the pharmaceutical companies? They did know. All the
Well,
early
they
data
gonna always
showed.
know.
Yeah, the early data showed exactly what I'm talking about, and we brought out the early data. See, here's the other thing. I'm not supposed to know this information because I'm supposed to be just some dumb, tall, black nigga from Compton who doesn't know how to read, who's not supposed to have any type of intelligence. I'm supposed to be on a basketball court somewhere. I just want you to understand this. So when they see your brother show up to the CDC, which I've been inside and I've actually read data and I've been in some of the meetings, the public meetings, they didn't realize that. I've actually met with the doctors and the scientists and the whistleblowers. These are the people who I work with, the colleagues on the highest levels. This is not supposed to happen, is my point. And you're for damn sure not supposed to get it to black people, not into hip-hop, not into any area of real life where the people in the hood can get the information, where we can understand it. The problem is we are the number one most affected by this issue, but we were the number one least represented, number one less educated, so we didn't know what the science was, how to rectify it, or the solutions. But we're the number one victims of it. So now you have somebody who's giving you the information, the education, the solutions, and that's not what they want.
Gotta shut him up. Dog, and it was sold to us the most.
Precise.
Yo, dog, I think Hot 97 and Power 105 didn't even have commercials no more.
See, now.
Every fucking ad was a COVID ad. I didn't hear,
right?
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right.
Like, I didn't hear Mitsubishi no more. I ain't hear Coca-Cola no more. I ain't hear none of that. All I heard was COVID ads. The whole fucking station.
Bro,
that's all they played.
Places was having giveaways. You come here and get the shot.
Giving
we give
chicken
you
away.
Lobster dinners.
Yeah.
Donuts. Weed. Joints for jabs out here over in DC. Joints for jabs, bro. I said, yo,
dog, that's
who
not
are they
insulting.
promoting this to?
That's not insulting.
No, look how deep this goes. Free
man.
strip dances.
Oh, yeah.
In parts of Europe, they were letting you have a woman for 30 minutes.
In Amsterdam, they were allowing you to get
some.
I mean, they gonna give me. I'm gonna give them a poke. They gonna give me a poke. We even.
Oh man, it was low.
I think DNA and Clips did a verse about it.
They did.
They did.
Man, it was low.
That was weird,
bro.
That was weird.
Lose your button.
Okay, we're back, everybody. My little break is over. Y'all come on in, brother. Brother UL?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What time you gonna start serving food? We've been on here an hour. We've been on here an hour with you, and I don't even smell nothing
I
good.
ain't doing no more food, man. I've already done that this week, man. We had, you know, because
You hear that, UL?
all the rest of it I ain't gonna eat.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say when they came out with the COVID thing back when they first came out with it, man, I started doing some research. I said, wait a minute, hold on. Now, first of all, you said the wrong word. You said pandemic. we're in a pandemic. And I said, wait a minute, hold on, something ain't right. Because I'm hearing pandemic on the radio, I'm hearing pandemic on the computer, and I actually cut the TV on. And there's pandemic there too. Now I know what a pandemic is. I've studied Black Death of Europe, and I've seen all that in real life. So what I did was I found this video of 25 questions to ask your friends and families who believe that we are actually in a pandemic. And I put it together with a little music and throw it up on YouTube. And YouTube said, if you do that again, we're going to close your account because you're endangering the lives of people. And I said, well, wait a minute. I'm endangering the lives of people by asking questions. And one of the questions was, for those of you who believe that we are in a pandemic, why is it that governments around the world were buying COVID-19 test kits in 2018, and if the pandemic didn't happen in 2019? Now, you didn't announce in 2019. The next thing, I said, well, okay, we are in a pandemic, so I called some of the Moorish brothers across the United States, as a matter of fact, about 6 of them. And I said, what I need y'all to do for me, I need you to contact the mortuaries, funeral homes, and ask them, since we are in a pandemic, has your business increased? And y'all call me back and let me know what they said. And every last one of them told me to say, well, the funeral homes say, well, business as usual. Some of them told me that business had dropped. I say, when you ride by the funeral home, when you ride by the cemeteries and stuff, there should be, cemeteries should be full every day all across the United States with the numbers that they're giving us about the people that's dying on TV, radio, and the computer. I said, let me know what you think. You got a couple of weeks. Y'all coming back in a couple of weeks and let me know how many funerals you see. Well, hey, man, ain't nothing changed. Anyway, I said, well, okay, how many people you seen just dropping dead on the street? How many people do you personally know, in your family that have died from a COVID-19? Shoot, nobody that I know. I said, well, you got time to go in the hospital and look around and see any COVID-19 in there. And then what happened to the flu? Nothing else about that. Because every year they come out with this new strain of flu. We have the Asian flu. We have the swine flu. We have this flu, that flu, and all that right there. None of that was mentioned no more. Everything was COVID-19. So now we got this thing. I'm trying to compare this virus information about the COVID-19 virus information versus the anti-Semitic uprising every time somebody that's in the public eye make a statement about someone that's calling themselves a Jew. But I just wanted to add that little bit of information because that's what they actually said. And if we're in a pandemic.
Well, I'll tell you about when the CDC made a report saying that the majority of death cases are from those who have been vaccinated. And then they come up with an excuse, say the reason why they're dying because they didn't get their second dose, the booster, in time. Well, here's two things on that. One, well, the booster, was not the first shot supposed to prevent you from obtaining death. But more importantly, if the people that are dying are those that's been vaccinated, then they're the ones that need to be wearing masks and being maintained at a certain distance from those who are not vaccinated because they pose a health risk. They should have to be able to show cards before they go on board planes that they, who they are. When they come into a restaurant, they should be assigned their own little special place, keep them away from those who haven't been vaccinated because I don't want them to give me something that's going to cause me to die.
Well,
and I ain't been vaccinated.
if we know for a fact, and y'all check this out, when you sneeze, that'll travel a distance of what, 10 to 12 feet, a sneeze will? Well, if that's the case, then they say, well, we have to social distance 6 foot. Another thing I found interesting, if the lockdown, where they had everybody stay home, don't go out, all the time, if that worked, then why did we come back and do it again? If the second lockdown didn't work, then why did we go out and say that we need to do that again? It seems to me, because see, I know the definition of insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, looking for a different result. That's insanity. So when I put the information up about the 25 questions, and one of the questions is, if we have such a deadly virus, and now you go to, on the side of the road, you go out on the beach, you go out in the woods, in the forest, you see all these face masks, these little hospital face masks, they're littering all alongside the road, even unto this day. So that should be some type of contamination. Nothing is said about that. So it seems to me that we've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been shafted. And but my biggest problem, the biggest battle that I had personally, was not with other people out in the streets, but with my own family. Well, you wouldn't got shot? I said, no, because I already know it's a lie. I know what a pandemic is. I already know that. My immune system is extremely strong because I deal with that every single day. When I get ready to eat, I put my moringa powder on there, get plenty of fresh air, good sunshine stuff, grow my own food, zero meat, all of that there, no sodas, processed food, got rid of all of that right there. Regular bowel movements, drink a glass of water in the morning when I get up, a glass of water before I go to bed and stuff. So when they first started this stuff, I go to the grocery store, and that's when the real panic set in. Man, people come in the grocery store that I had never seen shop in that store before. And I mean, some of them had 2 baskets. They was running around, and I walked in there, and I went over there to the vegetable section, which means I was over there pretty much by myself. They were going over there, get the ham, get the. It was one guy, he was in there. This guy had to be at least 6'8". I mean, a huge white boy. Had a little old wife there. He had a basket, she had a basket. And he went over there, immediately went to the pork, sausage, and bologna and spice ham section and told her to hurry up and get over there and get a ham. Get her and get a ham, I said. I said, boy, look here. If you don't have a virus, by the time you get home with what you buy and you start eating, you sure gonna have a virus with the stuff you eat. I mean, it was amazing. And
he said, get a ham, huh?
Yeah, get him a ham. He was getting sausage. He was just throwing in a sausage, bologna, spice ham, spam, everything that'll kill you. The pork chop section was missing. I thought after they finally slowed up a little bit, I had to got me some cabbage and what else I got? It was during the warm months. I got me some peaches and some apples and threw them in the basket because I said, well, if I got a little bit, maybe I could squeeze out of here because the stove was full, man. But I managed to go down the meat aisle And I mean, it was packed. All the chicken was missing. Wasn't no pork chop. The neck bone was gone. If they had chitlins, I know they were gone. We got to stock up on food because they said we got to be locked down and watch out for the virus. I said, no, you carrying the virus home. You take it home. What's going on? All the
put it in the freezer.
Gone, man. It was amazing. And they kept watching.
Man, you get stabbed. You get stabbed grabbing some of that meat that where they was grabbing meat. You mess around and get stabbed to death.
They started looking at me strange because every time I come to the store, everybody, when I walk in there, they social distance 6 foot. They got on all these masks, and then they start wearing some of them came in there. They had on, you ever seen a welder put the shield over his face before he went? They
had a welding hood on.
Yeah, the see-through. They would put that over their face, and then they had the mask on under that. And I walked straight in the store, no mask, no nothing, because I'm looking at them because these are people who actually believe that they're in a pandemic because somebody on TV, radio, or the internet told them that we was in a pandemic. Ain't nobody read nothing, ain't nobody investigating nothing, ain't nobody did nothing about their own health on a regular basis before a pandemic ever started. None of that. And they looking at me like, oh, shit, I sure hope he don't contaminate me. What? With what? Intelligence?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, look, Tarhaka, I'm getting ready to get off from here.
Okay, my
it's
brother.
8:20. But I really appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Well, Brother Yoel, come on back, man. You still with me?
I'll talk to you later, too, Yoel. You be careful now.
Huh? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I see you guys. Y'all be careful, bye.
All right, man. You take care.
Well, I was going to back up something you said about that.
About what now?
I was going to back that statement you made up with the governments that were buying in 2018. You said it was buying the test kits or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what was on the video I had with when I put out 25 questions to ask people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go ahead.
First of all, like you send that one to me again if you sent it to me before. But anyway, I was going to back that up by saying it was not only doing that, but in 2019 is when they approved the money for the stimulus checks that they gave to the businesses and the people. And you can Google that and look up House Resolution 748. And they approved that money for the stimulus check in 2019. In January, I think it was January 24th, 2019. So why are you approving some money for some stimulus checks for a problem that we don't have yet? It's all
they will show you all of it is a scam. It was now you got Fauci, and he's going out as some sort of a hero, and his wife was in charge of this area. I don't know what she was the president of the SENC or some old stuff, and these two working together promoting this and stuff, and then you got the Biden administration. They backing it up, and they started fueling the economy. You got grocery stores, you got Walmart, you got grocery stores, big grocery store chains packed with people, you follow me, doing what's supposed to be a pandemic, but you shutting down the mom and pop operation. We ain't got no more than 2 or 3 people in there. Then you turn around and say, well, the virus don't affect the children. But then you shut down the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So to me,
it what you're seeing now is why I say what I said about this ain't about economics, because what business owner that looks upon you as his consumer that buys from him would shut you down like that and cause you not to spend no money with him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it is amazing, and I try to tell people all the time. I asked my brother, he done went and took the shot. My mama, she, I done gave up on that. Well, I got to go get my other booster. And so, but then when I go tell him, I said, well, why don't you go and look at the bubonic plague or the Black Death of Youth, so you can see what a panic really, a pandemic really looks like for real, and then compare that with what you see right now. I ain't seen nothing. I mean, throughout the whole thing, I was going back and forth on the north side, different parts of the north side, riding all over on the west side and stuff, passing by the funeral home, they empty. Ain't no increase in parking at the hospitals. Ain't no, one lady, she said she went to a clinic to be tested because she was getting under the influence of all this information about a pandemic. And when she went in the clinic, she said the place was packed, but she signed the book anyway. Put her name down there, put her email, put her phone number down there. But it was taking so long for them to call her that she didn't have time. She left out the clinic, got in her car, and went on taking care of her business. She said she got an email saying that she had tested positive for the virus and she needed to come back and schedule another appointment. This is kind of business, man.
Yeah.
I mean, well, totally amazing. And then the people who you would think your neighbors, your cross the street neighbors, down the street neighbors, I mean, you see people riding down the street with the windows rolled up in the car with a mask on.
By themselves.
Yeah. And I'm trying to, okay, if you by yourself, fool, why are you riding down the street with the window rolled up and a damn mask on? What's wrong with you? Have you lost your mind? Amazing, man. It was amazing. And then my family had so bad. I couldn't go to my mama's house. She told me, well, I'm coming by there because I got something for you because, I know how you is. And she come by here and gave me a box full of masks. I said, okay, thank you, Mama. And I took them and carried them in the house and put them on the dresser. Well, now, you go anywhere, just make sure you keep them. Now, this got me. All right, they had a sandwich shop, and I had a young lady that I was riding with, and she wanted to go to the Subway sandwich shop. Okay, this is the brother is managing this sandwich shop. That's the first time I'm going in there. Soon as we walked through the door, the brother said, I said, man, I'm going to have to stop you right there, man. Y'all don't have your masks on. We can't serve you. I said, okay, brother, no problem. So I went down the street, about a quarter of a mile to this brother, same kind of Subway shop, sandwich shop, that I went to school with. The place packed. People got masks on with the mask up under their chin, sitting down and they eating in the restaurant. Then I went to another restaurant where my brother, Tramp, now he trained fighters. This dude here, man, me and him like brothers. He traveled all across the United States training fighters. We go up in the restaurant, and they had a COVID-19 police. One of the ushers He come over there. We in line. Now, you got all these people sitting out there in the dining room eating food. You follow me? Ain't nobody got no mask. Everybody eating. But we in line to go get masks. He said, well, y'all got, you know, if y'all standing here before y'all get y'all food, y'all had to put on y'all masks. Champ went off. Champ said, you don't get away from me. No, you He said, don't you see all the people sitting out there? They ain't got no mask. Well, I just following the guidelines. He said, whoever gave you the guidelines, you tell them to come over here. I'll guide them the hell out. You So here comes the security. Security came over there and said, it's all right. That champ, I know him. Leave him alone. Go. He's gonna knock you out. Oh, man, this thing was ridiculous, man. This was the most, it was the most ridiculous thing that I ever seen in my life. And I think I done thrown away all the masks that all the people done gave me. And they were brand new. I thrown them things in garbage can by the boxload. And ain't sneezed now time. I had no flu, no cold, no nothing. Through the whole thing on this day. Same thing. And you know that, I don't know about up there where y'all at, but down here in Jacksonville, Florida, you still got people walking around with masks on. They come in the store with the mask on, man. They still doing it. Still doing it.
Yeah, well.
But anyway, I'm going to take a little quick break and we'll be right back. So hold on a minute, man.
All right.
Last year, the Anti-Defamation League recorded a record number of anti-Semitic incidents across the United States. According to the ADL, at least one anti-Semitic incident has been reported in the U.S. for almost every day in July. Earlier this month, entertainer and television host Nick Cannon and Eagles wide receiver Deshaun Jackson both made headlines for making anti-Semitic remarks. Their comments both have reignited the conversation not only about anti-Semitism in America, but anti-Semitism in the black community as well. CBS News political analyst and opinion columnist for the New York Times, Jamel Bouie, joins me now. Jamel, thank you so much for being with us. You know, historically, the black community and the Jewish community have worked together to battle racism in the United States. Can you tell us a little bit more about the foundation of this relationship and how it came to be?
Absolutely. This goes all the way back to the beginnings of sort of modern civil rights activism. The NAACP, for example, top leadership, much of it comprised of Jewish Americans. The efforts to fight lynching, for example, in the South, involved Jewish Americans. One of the most prominent lynchings in the United States in the 1910s, I believe, was Leo Frank, a Jewish American. As you go through the 20th century, this pattern, this basic dynamic of Jewish Americans working with African Americans, working in civil rights organizations, taking up cases on behalf of African Americans, is very much part of the story, acting as financiers for African American movements. And also Jewish Americans were an important part of funding educational institutions for African Americans. And so kind of throughout the 20th century, and especially this first half, there is this very robust connection between Jewish American communities and African American communities.
And, you know, as you just outlined, those close ties, the black and Jewish communities have many parallels in their history. Both communities have suffered discrimination and oppression in a land that they helped build and have been victims of senseless violence in the place they call home. So why, Jamel, are the two communities often not closer allies, taking on this battle as one marginalized community?
So the interesting thing is that the tensions among Jewish American leaders and black American leaders have more or less existed as long as the connection has. You go back 60 or 70 years and you can read magazine articles about this exact dynamic, right? So why is it that there is this tension, there's this hostility James Baldwin, I believe in 1963, wrote a very famous essay about anti-Semitism within the African American community. It's one of those things where the both dynamics have always been there, right? The cooperation, but also the tension. And there are a lot of reasons, not reasons, but sort of theories for it. James Baldwin, in his essay, argues that what you're seeing with anti-Semitism within the black community, or at least within the black community up in New York, because I think part of a thing that has to be sort of underscored here is that not all black communities are the same, and so often many of the dynamics around anti-Semitism in the black community and many of the conversations around it really are sort of New York and Northeast centric. But Baldwin says that what you're witnessing is not so much an anger or prejudice based off of Jewishness, but based off of the whiteness of Jewish Americans. And that his argument is that it's a resentment at Jewish Americans and oppressed people sort of choosing their whiteness over choosing their oppression. He, I think, in the essay does not find this to be a very, I wouldn't say persuasive, but he sees this as a misguided view, both the anti-Semitism and the reason for it. But that's one dynamic. The other dynamic with regards to anti-Semitism in the black community is simply that black Americans are Americans. And the United States has a long history of anti-Semitism. And so it stands to reason that a long-standing American community like African Americans would take in some of that anti-Semitism and recapitulate it within its own community. And that, for me, I think is the most sort of persuasive explanation for all of this, that anti-Semitism is just part of the stew of prejudice in the United States. And it's not reasonable to expect an oppressed group to be immune from it. Baldwin uses this phrasing in his essay: oppression isn't ennobling. Being the subject of oppression doesn't automatically make one sort of attuned to all kinds of oppression. And I think that when we're talking about the current situation with Nick Cannon and other African-American celebrities expressing anti-Semitic views, I think we have to understand the dynamic that there's nothing about caring about racism on part of someone like Nick Cannon that would make them necessarily attuned to the problem of anti-Semitism. And in fact, if they haven't really interrogated their own biases very much, they very quickly can end up recapitulating things that are already present in the society, and that includes anti-Semitism.
Very, very insightful. So, Jamel, is there a way then for both of these communities to work together more closely moving forward to erase some of these differences and tensions?
Well, as I said, these tensions have kind of always been there. And despite them, African American and Jewish American communities have worked together. I think in this moment, what would be important is for when African American celebrities like Nick Cannon say something anti-Semitic, for their peers to speak up and say, no, this is unacceptable. To reiterate something that has been reiterated again and again, that there cannot be any freedom for oppression for one group if other groups are subject to oppression, and that sort of stating anti-Semitic views, leaving anti-Semitic things to go unchallenged is not just a direct threat to Jewish Americans, but also undermines the broader struggle for equality. And so making sure that message is out there and keeps getting said, I think, is important. And in the wake of Cannon, and I cannot recall the name of the football player's remarks, there were African-American celebrities and thinkers who came out and basically said this. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote a column for The Hollywood Reporter making this basic point. Jamel Hill, writing for The Atlantic, made this basic point. So that challenge is coming out there, and I think that is very important.
Jamel Bowie, thank you so much for joining us and all your insight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we back. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be on back. I'll open up Brother UL's line. Y'all hold on. All right, everybody, we're back. Brother Yoel, you still with me? Yeah, bro, I'm still here. All right, you want to tell us how to get a hold of you, get a hold of them books and stuff, man? Okay, well, first of all, Professor Williams' book can be gotten and through the bookstore, and I ain't gonna mention them other folks, but it could be gotten. His books, Historical Origin of Christianity and Historical Origin of Islam, could be gotten through Underground Bookstore in Chicago, and they can contact me by phone at 773-768-8869. 773-768-8869, or by email at undergroundbookstore1@gmail.com. That's undergroundbookstore1@gmail.com. Okay, so that's where you can get his books, and you can get any book that you're basically looking for, black, white, green, or otherwise, written by any people that you're looking for that you find it a difficulty to find them. I try to pride myself on finding those books that people might not be able to find themselves. So, and then this guy's books that related, that all the controversy is about with Kyrie. I got all of those volumes of that brother's books, from Hebrew to Negro. If anybody out there looking for those, we carry those books too. So that's how you can get in touch with me. And Professor Williams, you can call him at 773-947-8662. 773-947-8662. If you have any questions for him about his books, anything related to his books, don't just call him just to be calling him, because normally you don't pass out his number like that. But since he is up in age and he don't get out this much, he's allowing some people with some sanity to call him, as long as they ain't going to be worrisome. Okay, all right. Well, you got anything else you want to add on the tonight's subject with this anti-Semitic, whatever it is that you want to add? We got 12 minutes left on the broadcast. Well, it's funny because there's a book written by a lady named Valencia Straighton, and she wrote this book somewhere in the late 1800s to early 1900s. And so it took me back to that book where I went back in that book and I saw what she wrote about where Semitic came from, and she talked about the Semitic Sem came from Cam. Cam and Sem denotes black and created, right? That's the meaning of the Cam, the Kim, and the S and the K. The S came from the K, and also that the Ham also came from that as well, like Black Sambo and that little Sam. Hello? Still with me? I'm still here. I don't know where what happened just now, but anyway, the bottom line is in that book she talks about the Semitics were the Kemites, the Kemites. Okay, so she said in earlier years or that the Cam went to Sam and Semite, and that the black folks at that time who was Kim were Sem, the same people. So she said they were the same people, the Semites and the Kemites. So, that kind of speaks to the issue we're talking about today, basically. So that's all I wanted to add to that. But anyway, that's about it. Okay, well, I got another caller with his hand raised at 347. I'm going to open up his line. 347, please be brief. We only have a few moments left. Tell us who you are, where you calling from, what's your question or comment. 347, come on in.
How you doing? This is Shaheem Jones from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, Mr. Jones.
This I just want to ask a question, like, with the Kanye West thing, is that like would that be considered a hate crime, anti-Semitic, that they getting all this backlash with like their companies? Or is that a
You want to answer that, Brother Uriel? First and foremost, the only thing he did was say who controls the entertainment industry. Is that a fact or is that fiction? If it's a fact and that they do, then how can it be? And when you talk about, I don't know if you caught the earlier portion of the broadcast, he can't be anti-Semitic. He can't be anti-Semitic when the definition of anti-Semitic means that it mainly pertains to Afro-Asiatic races. Afros should tell you something, right? Who wear afros? Yeah. That's African. Us, ain't it? Well, then using that definition, then you can't be anti yourself. So he wasn't that, but they count on people not looking up the definition of that word. And we didn't invent the definition, but that's in the definition of the word.
So what I mean is that what I'm saying is, since he's taking backslash, like his companies is going out of the contracts, how can is that in his policy, like the contracts, that they could take money from him and stop his endorsements? Why is it that he only said, he didn't threaten them, he didn't make like any foul statements to them, he just said, we the Jews, and he didn't say nothing, like that you could be criminally, that they could take your money from you, like bank-wise. That's what I mean.
Well, yeah, if it's something like that in this contract, but they have to prove that what he said was anti-Semitic, and they can't prove that. So actually, in the long run, I think they're going to have to pay him all the money that he lost back. But these people are willing to do stuff like that. They're willing to shut down you and teach you a lesson and have a public lynching like that of somebody like a Kanye West and other people, just to make you instill fear in you for challenging or even questioning who's running the industry like that. These people will buy your business and shut it down, even if it's a successful business. So they'll do things like that. Kyrie Irving didn't do anything either. He just posted a video or linked to a video, really. He didn't say if he liked it or didn't like it. But guess what's happening with his case? They got to pay him, the NBA got to pay him for sending him down because he didn't do anything. Okay, so...
say how he didn't. I believe there's no policy in his contract that says anything about anti-Semitic. So how can they do that if that wouldn't even be in his contract from the start? That it doesn't make sense. That's why what you say makes sense. They would have to pay him back because they're doing it maliciously, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But all right.
Well, they do stuff like that. That's what they do. Right, and sometimes it don't make no sense, but it makes sense to them.
Legally, that's what it means. Because anti-Semitic is not a legal term, so how can you get a legal backslash for something that's not even a legal term? They would have to put it as a hate crime. Anti-Semitic, right?
Don't know, bro, but I hear you.
All right.
When you look up the definition of the word Semitic, it has something to do with prejudice and all this kind of stuff. But the thing that you discover inside the United States corporation masquerading as government is they want to control the narrative. You can say something and mean one thing, but they want to take it and blow it up and make it on a whole different issue and do all kind of this, that, and flex and all this right here. So this is what's going on inside the United States. But once again, it boils down to how you're going to react about this stuff. Are you going to, what you going to do? Are you going to make a public display? Are you going to do something in private? Or what you going to do? How you going to react to a situation like this? But anyway, Brother, we're winding on down, and I'm going to close on down. I appreciate you calling in from Brooklyn, brother. And
All right, thank you.
I thank you for calling in from Chicago. Yeah, one last thing, Tarhaka. Okay. That is that I got a book almost over 20 years ago. And guess what the name of that book is? The name of that book is, and it's almost 2,000 pages in this book. It's a volume 1 and 2, and each volume is about 900 pages a piece. It's called The Psychosocial, Chemical, Biological, and Electromagnetic Manipulation of Human Consciousness. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's what they're in the business of doing, studying how to manipulate the masses of the people and control their mind. And even the Bible tells you that the last battle will be fight over control of your mind. Okay? Mm-hmm. So that's what they're in the business of doing, and that's how much time they spent collecting this. And my book is 20 years old, and I'm 20 years behind in more research that they done probably put together to do that. Okay? 2,000 pages. Well, that's exactly what happened with the pandemic. When I was saying I was in the grocery store, I done seen this business in action. You know, wipe the bacon section out. I done seen this business in action, and it's still going on, man. But I mean, you know, I don't even try to talk to nobody about it. I just look at them in amazed wonderment. But anyway, my brother, I certainly appreciate you being on, man, and I'll get back with you. I'm going to call Dr. Williams. I got a big project coming up tomorrow that I got to work on, but I'm going to convert this thing over and throw it on up on YouTube and stuff. But I appreciate it, man, and you take care of yourself. Okay, brother. Peace. All right. Peace. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry we had a little technical difficulty with my brother Walter Williams. About this, what is anti-Semitic and stuff, and go back and listen to this thing and see just how it came across. But anyway, we're going to tune on out and roll on out.
Bye.